Hey everyone, I'm Gil Peleg, and today I'm going to show you how we use the Geniez GenAI Framework to extend the Microsoft Copilot with mainframe capabilities. So as you can see on my screen, I got Copilot open on the right-hand side. It's connected to Claude Sonnet 4. And as you can see, it's also connected to the Geniez GenAI Framework with a long list of mainframe capabilities. You can see on the left-hand side, I have a mainframe application open. I have some COBOL source files. I have copybooks. I have JCL source code, as you can see right here on my screen. And I'm going to start with asking Copilot to explain what this JCL does. So I'm going to type that in the chat window. And this is a basic capability of Copilot. It's going to look at the JCL and explain what it does. And as you can see, it came back and it's explaining that this JCL closes some CACS datasets. It's giving me the list of datasets and which command is used to close the dataset. This is a pretty standard CACS batch application job. So now I'm going to ask it to submit it. And this is already a Geniez GenAI capability because Microsoft Copilot cannot submit jobs on its own. Right? So I'm going to type in. So I can even ask it to check whether the job was successful once it's submitted. So here it goes. And as you can see, it's using the Geniez GenAI Framework to submit the job. It came back with a job ID and the job name, and it says the job was successfully submitted. And I'm going to ask it to check whether the job was successful. And again, it's running the Geniez GenAI Framework to check the job output on the spool. And as you can see, it comes back and says the job has completed, and it's checking for any messages. All right, so it's coming back and telling me that the job has actually failed with an error message, module SDFS not found. Oh, that seems to be a typo on my end, so I can ask it to fix the program name. Right, so it is suggesting the fix to the JCL. I'm going to tell it I want to keep the update to the program name. It fixed the JCL and it submitted the job again. And I'm going to ask it to check whether the job was successful this time. And again, it's going to go to the spool to list the job output and check whether the job was successful or were there any error messages. All right, so as you can see, it found the job output and it figured out the job has completed successfully with a return code 0. That's great. All right, now I want to understand a little bit deeper what this job has done. So I'm going to ask it if it can check the job output and tell me which dataset is actually connected to the CACS file transact. All right? This is a bit more complex task as it requires Copilot to dive deeper into analyzing the output of the job and try to understand which dataset is actually being used. All right, and it's coming back and telling me that this is the dataset name, transact visam KSDS. Now, I want to try and understand the structure of this file. I seem to recall I have a copybook mapping this dataset, but I'm not sure which copybook that actually is. So I'm going to ask Copilot to search for it and try to see if it can find which copybook maps this visam dataset. And as you can see, it searched through the project and found the README file and figured out that this copybook VTRA05Y is the one that's actually mapping the VISM dataset. Now, I seem to recall I have that copybook on my mainframe, so I'm just gonna ask Copilot to make sure it's actually there. So now it's gonna use the Geniez GenAI Framework to go to the mainframe and list a PDS and check whether it has a member by that name. All right, and it came back and says, yes, I found the copybook in this PDS. So now I'm gonna ask Copilot to actually map the VISM dataset from the mainframe with the copybook and show me the content of the VISM dataset. And again, this is something that Copilot cannot do on its own, and it's gonna call the Geniez GenAI Framework to retrieve the copybook, retrieve the VISM dataset, and then parse the dataset based on the copybook. All right, and it came back and it's showing us a couple of sample records from the VISM dataset, but I'm actually interested in the record with the highest purchase amount, so I'm gonna ask it to show it. And I'm asking it to list a record in the dataset, but I'm not actually telling it the schema of the dataset or the structure of the dataset. I'm just using my application terms to ask it what to do, and it will figure it out based on the copybook. All right, and here we go. As you can see, it came back and it located the transaction with the highest purchase amount of $504. All right, so we looked at the application level at the records in the VISM dataset. Now I'm interested in a little bit more technical details about the dataset. So I'd like to list the attributes of the dataset. So I'm going to ask Copilot to generate an IDCAMS JCL and run it on the mainframe for me to list the attributes. All right, and as you can see, it generated its own JCL, submitted it, and checked the output and came back and it's showing me the dataset name, the type of the dataset, which catalog it's on, the size of the dataset, the key length, the record length, and many other technical details about the dataset. All right, so we looked at the application VISM datasets. Now I want to check the application database tables. So I'm going to ask Copilot whether it can access DB2 for me. And as you can see, it came back and said that through the Geniez GenAI Framework, it has access to a bunch of DB2 capabilities. So I'm just going to ask it to look at the employees table for me. So I'm going to type in, and I'm asking it to list all employees in the table. And as you can see, it used the Geniez GenAI Framework to generate an SQL query to list all the employees in the table. I can try and dive a bit deeper into the application data. For example, I'm going to ask it to list the top 3 employees with highest salaries. And as you can see, it came back with the list of 3 employees with the highest salaries. And as you noticed, I did not have to tell it the schema of the table or how to access the database. It figured it all out through its own using the Geniez GenAI Framework. All right, so that's all I had today. In this demo, we showed you how we use the Geniez GenAI Framework to extend Microsoft Copilot with mainframe capabilities. For example, submitting jobs, looking at VISM datasets based on COBOL copybooks, or querying DB2 tables. If you'd like to learn more, you're welcome to visit our website where we have a lot more resources and videos for you. Thank you.